A few years ago, we began developing the Jar of Eternity. The game has recently reached its early access stage, and though are still far from finished, we already have learned many valuable lessons about how to approach early access. With a better handful of developers, 9 to be precise, even though Edge of Eternity has many qualities going for it, we could not allow ourselves to be deceitful of what would be the final product. It is and will remain a game made by a small indie studio. Being transparent was the best way for us to ensure the players will be well disposed toward your game throughout the whole development. Before the beginning of the early access, we were getting increasingly worried that the players would chalk Edge of Eternity as being on the same level as the heavyweights of the genre, like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, and that they would felt betrayed, realizing that not all of the production values we could offer could be on the same level as those games. So even if we worked our heads off to provide the best vistas and environment we could, we had to make sure the players would not confuse us with a big production game. So we had to do some evangelizing to make sure everyone knew that Edge of Eternity was an indie game. It came with publishing a full calendar of upcoming content and features for the next months. Nothing is worse for players to invest themselves and their money in a game where they are unsure of the payoffs. Jerks are a narrative-heavy genre, which obeys quite strict rules when it comes to its storytelling. Much of the time, the fate of the world is at stake. The characters develop strong bonds throughout the story. Plus there is the inherent theme of getting stronger, both of power and character. How can a story be told, and how can a world be fleshed out, when developing a game in early access? One of the problems with early access is that some players will discover the plot as the game is getting developed, adding storyline content to zones that already have been explored by early access. Players might not be a good practice, especially if they foreshadow elements that will be exposed later in the game. We are making an exception with the introduction, though. For the moment, the introduction is a non-playable slideshow placeholder. When the actual introduction will be implemented, the players, regardless of their progression, will be able to start up in the game and get up to speed with the new storyline content. Of course, we are introducing sufficient foreshadowing and plot elements in the actual early access for players not to be completely surprised when a critical plot point directly related to that yet undeveloped introduction will come up on screen. So at that point, we decided to treat every update as a chapter, and each of those chapters like a self-enclosed episode, like an anime episode. Each of those chapters has its own stakes, its own theme, and details a specific aspect of the plot, are the characters, are the world, with a build-up and a conclusion, all the while serving the overarching story. What definitely helps us despite appearances is that Edge of Eternity is an open-world game with large sprawling zones that get unlocked every time the player finishes a story chapter. Each of those zones presents new quests, both main quests and side quests, which allows the player to discover that new content organically by exploring the world. Chapter-based development also allows us to develop the game with a proper scope. It is a great help for us to be able to determine what we will be working for the next months precisely, as it allows us to develop the game one step at a time. Of course, it comes with commitment to the players. In every regard, early access developers are supported by their goodwill, interest and money. First of all, they are the best QA developers could ever hope for. They know best what they yearn for. One can unquestionably trust a player's feedback when they go to great length posting a long message about what they thought of their experience. Unquestionably trust the players' feedback, as they are sharing what they felt while playing the game. If they felt but are disconnected from the game somewhere, there is obviously a problem to address. But always take with a pinch of salt the solutions they may suggest are come up with, while very often players offer sound advice alongside constructive criticism, without aiming our game towards aficionados of the genre, so it is to be expected for them to be connoisseurs, if not experts. The developers need to never forget that they are the one with the long-term vision. Perhaps every early access has its honeymoon, a short period of grace, and perhaps we are still in the middle of it. Still, we have made the choice to be as transparent as we can with other players, even if it sometimes means developing things, adding features we had not envisioned. Adapting to the player's need is not necessarily a short-sighted endeavor, as they can bring the attention of the developers on smaller aspects that may have been overlooked, and that might be easily added. So, in short, our experience with early access has been successful, also stressful, without a doubt, but certainly does not amount as the same amount of stress as a full release. To be able to spread the strength of the players' reception over several months instead of a few days is certainly another good if unexpected bonus of this early access. Today's game makers are doing mind-blowing things with graphics. And at the 2019 Game Developers Conference you will have the unique opportunity to see how some of the industry's most jaw-dropping games are built. Notably, as part of BD 2019, as Advanced Graphics Techniques Tutorial, AMD and Ubisoft will present a programming track talk on efficient rendering in The Division 2 that you will not want to miss. Together, Ubisoft massive technical director Kyle Ledfus and AMD developer, tech engineer Rolog Aviv will walk you through how Ubisoft's upcoming online action RPG is built to run efficiently on the company's powerful Snowdrop engine. You will get a full, frank look at the tech, as though you were being brought on board to join the Snowdrop team right after DD wraps up. You will also learn some of the tricks and techniques the Division 2 team uses to achieve maximum performance on both PC and console, like how to structure a frame so asynchronous compute can get the most out of the PU. You will also walk away with unique insight into how Snowdrop diffuses multi-threading, intrinsics, and even a trick to submit command lists faster than usual. It promises to be a fast-paced track, so come caffeinated and ready to learn. It's a great example of the kind of technical, in-depth talks you will find in the Advanced Graphics Techniques Tutorial, a focused day-long look at how to create cutting-edge game graphics for game developers targeting the PC platform. For a full list of what to expect, including talks from NVIDIA, AMD, and developers like Wildcard, Oasis, and Read It on the other 1886. Check out the tutorial's full talk lineup. Further details on these talks and many more are available now on THEGDC 2019 session scheduler. There you can begin to lay out your GD 2019, which takes place March 18th through the 22nd at the newly renovated Moscone Center in San Francisco. Bring your team to GD, register a group of 10 or more and save 10% on conference passes. Learn more. For more details on GDC 2019 visit the show's official website, or subscribe to regular updates via Facebook, Twitter, OS, Gamasutra and GD are sibling organizations under parent company Informa. Vivendi has sold the last of its stock in Ubisoft, ending a years-long saga that at one time had been Assassin's Creed. Developer concerned that a hostile takeover was imminent. Reuters reports that Vivendi had sold its final 5.9% stake in Ubisoft for $529,185 million, amounting to a capital gain of $220,248.7 million. Overall, Vivendi is no longer a Ubisoft shareholder and maintains its commitment to refrain from purchasing Ubisoft shares for a period of 5 years, said a statement from the company. Vivendi